Hello, my name is Emma, and I've been doing Python and Django for quite a few years now. I'm also a proud member of the PSF as well as the DSF, and I co-founded a small company called Levit. And with Levit, we do a lot of data management, web application, things like ERPs, CRMs, things like a lot of other speakers on this stage this week are doing. We're working on large applications. And this is going to be relevant in a couple of minutes. Just a short disclaimer. I don't have Karen's ability to draw, nor could I find a lot of images that were really related to the topic on the internet, so I asked AI, I asked Crayon to help me find images for this talk. And I've had great success doing that before. If you've not seen my talk about the Raspberry Pi and a chipset on a Raspberry Pi, try to imagine what AI would draw for a chipset on a Raspberry Pi. So, for starters, I want to talk about mathematics. Mathematics is a language that is created by humans, but is the only language that can describe mathematics. And mathematics is the base of our understanding of everything. Mathematics is the base of physics. Physics is the base for astrophysics. Everything is based on something that describes itself. And astrophysicists use math, but they also use another language that can be used to describe itself. It's Python. Python can be used to describe itself. This is the concept behind things like PyPy, Python interpreter written in Python. And the reason that Python can describe itself is because in Python, everything is an object. A string, and you can read this code, right? In Python, everything is an object. A string is an object, but literals like integers and booleans, they're also objects. Of course, if you create your own class and you instantiate that class, that's an object. The instance of the class is an object, but the class itself is also an object. It's an object of type. And object, the built-in object in Python is also an object. That's in the name. It would be bad if object was not an object. But object is an object of type, and type itself is an object of type. And really, when I say everything is an object in Python, functions are objects also in Python. So if you're doing function-based use because you don't like to do object-oriented, well, I'm sorry to ruin your day, but you're doing class-based use, actually. I lost my mouse. Here. The nice thing about objects is that objects can be introspected and they can be inspected. You have things like dir that will let you know all the properties, methods of an object. There is DunderDoc that will let you read the docs that you wrote for a function or any other type of object. There is type that will give you the parent class of an object. There is MRO that will let you know when you're going to call a method on an object. MRO is going to tell you, okay, I'm going to call the same method on this parent first, and then on that other parent, and on that class parent after. So all these things, all these tools are built into Python to let you understand how Python itself works, how your Python code works, or the code that somebody else's wrote works. So Python even comes with specific modules that let you know more about your code or any code basically in Python. You can try importing inspect if you've never done that. Import inspect, and then you can learn a lot of things about anything you want in any code base in Python. But what does it really have to do with the title of the talk? I mean, the title of the talk was Classy All the Things. Well, the title of the talk, sorry. The title of the talk comes from this thing called classy class-based views. So for those of you who don't know what classy class-based views is, this is what some people call the second documentation website of Django. It is a website that that is the AI-generated image. This doesn't help you. This is a screenshot, it's better. So this is a website that lets you learn about class-based views in Django. And the problem with class-based views is that if you are opening a template view, for example, and you're trying to understand what it's going to be doing when you try to use it, there is not much in the template view itself, because all the code that's used to render a template view is spread onto other base classes, onto mixins, and things like that. And as Corton has told us, locality is something that is quite nice. When you open a file, you see everything that it does, and it allows you to understand things. This is something that we don't have out of the box with class-based views. When you open a template view, I think it gives two methods actually that you can see in the class-based view. Everything else is defined in other classes. So here CCBV lets you inspect everything. I'm going to try to switch to a live view. So this is the actual website of classy class-based views. And if I scroll down to template view, now for this template view, I'm able to see everything that is defined in a template view. I've got all the properties, the attributes, and if I scroll down, I've also got all the methods that a class-based view actually owns. And even if I click on one of those, I lost my screen, okay. If I click on one of those, not only will it give me the docstring for that method, but it will also give me the code for that method. And as the person who did the talk about using and abusing the admin yesterday said, digging into the code of the framework that you're using is something that is great. It's how you can learn about your framework. It's how you can have deep insight on exactly how the framework that you're using is doing the things that you want it to do. And it often helps you find bugs more easily and things like that. So personally, I find that this kind of tool is very useful, and it fixes the locality problem. No, if I scroll back up, I see everything that I want to know about this template view. And apparently, I'm not the only one who finds this interesting, because once CCBV was out, other people started doing the same thing with other part of Django. We have classy Django REST framework. I'm really not sure how the AI got this thing. But this is a representation of classy DRF. And class EDRF gives you the same kind of information, except with serializer, view sets, and that kind of thing. And there is also class E Django forms. This one is a bit clearer how we got there. Unfortunately, class E Django forms hasn't been updated in a while. It's still at Django 3. So it is still useful because the hierarchy of things hasn't changed that much, but it's not up to date anymore. But once you start using that kind of documentation, that kind of tool, it's more than documentation, it's a tool. It becomes similar to your own code editor. You know, when you're in your editor and you jump to the definition of a method, this is what it does. And for that reason, some people love to have that kind of tool, the power of that kind of tool. Some hate it because you shouldn't need a second documentation website. I'm part of the people who loves it because I use a lot of class-based things. Maybe soon I will be using class-based emails as well, who knows. But I've been using it all the time. And I don't know what happened to that tiger. But I've been using it all the time. It has made my life so much easier. It has brought me a much better understanding of how Django's internal works. But at the same time, it has brought some frustration. I am frustrated because now I can see everything I want to see about Django class-based views, but I don't really know anything about Django admin options, or I don't really know anything about my own code, or I can see an outdated version of what Django forms do, but I cannot see exactly what the latest version today does. So I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could have a Django classy of my own code? Because, you know, remember I said we worked on large Spanglish project? So when there's this project that has 100 models, that has 200 views, that has the same amount of serializers, when I go back to that project 6 months later, do I always remember where I put everything? Absolutely not. So this is something that would really help me. And could I really Django classy my own forms? Well, I kind of did a thing, and I tried to type manage.py classify, and I got some result. And I'm going to try to show that to you. Zooming in a little bit. Yeah. Can everybody? Well, the text on the screen doesn't really matter. But this is the output that you can get without too much effort for your own code. And this is one of these projects that I told you about. If I start scrolling down, you can see that there's quite a few things in there. There's quite several models and things like that. And so now at this stage, I don't really remember what's in my product model, but I can go there and I can have something similar to what CCBV offers. And also, I'm going to test it right here in front of you. I'm a profound lover of dark mode for several reasons. But if you really want to have it in light mode and be blinded by it, this is also available. So, things being Django, and here I'm talking about models, I had to also make a few things. So CCBV tells you about the attributes and methods, but here we're seeing the code for a model, and models, they have this extra thing that is called fields. So this is something that we can also have as a separate thing. And here you can see all the fields where they are actually defined, in what file they are defined. Here we have some checkbox on the top where I can hide and show part of the code, part of the output. So for example, PK is defined by Django. Most of the time, I'm not going to want to see PK as in the list of my fields, because this is something defined by Django. I know there is a PK. So by default, this is hidden. If I go see the methods, this is very similar to how CCBV works. I can also click on it and have the details. I'm clicking on my back, so I didn't pick something that has inheritance, but if it has inheritance and, for example, a method is defined on several levels, it will also give you every thing that defined that method before the class. So yeah, this is something that you can now do. And if I scroll back up, you can see also that I've got a second checkbox. And this is a checkbox for DRS schema adapters, which is also something I built. But you probably don't care about DRS schema adapter because you might not have it in your code. So I'm also going to show you how I'm able to get that. There is a configuration settings where you can configure exactly what modules you want to document with that classifying tool. And you can also define some non-apps, the thing at the bottom. And non-apps is a dictionary of lists, and so you say that, for example, you're using Wagtail, and so you know that Wagtail, everything that's in the module Wagtail, Treebird, or model cluster, this is part of Wagtail, and you don't want to document it. So this is a non-app, and for every non-app, you will get a checkbox. This documentation is generated, and it lives on your hard drive as HTML file. It's not being served by the Django server. Let me get a drink. It's not generated, it's not live with the Django server because I found out that the moment that I really, really want to know why that method, where that method was defined and what it does exactly is when my code doesn't run. So I didn't want to depend on the Django development server to serve that. So it's generated and lives on the hard drive. So even if your development server is completely crashed and nothing runs, you still have access to that documentation. All you need is to have Python, which you probably do if you're working on the Django project, and start Python's HTTP server. So if you want to, see more of this and maybe help me to publish it to PyPy, you can come this weekend at the sprint. Maybe suggest more improvement and things. But if not, right now it's time for questions.